Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Thanks for filling in.
No problem. Thanks to Matt for getting us together.
Oh, he's a savior.
How was your first day of work?
At the 911 communication center, the training analyst. So, you said how? I'm sorry. It was good. It was good. It was really stressful. There was a lot going on. So, I'm ready now.
Good. I'm tired. I'm a little sick. I have to go for a presentation at 8:30, so I'm in a bad mood, but that's okay. We're gonna get it done. And then after we're done, I have to do the video call. I have to create a group, so I'll call both of you. Hopefully that will work. And then after, when he gets off the call, we can just stay and decide how to move forward.
Okay, sounds great. That sounds fantastic.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
So she's probably on a call, both of you.
Okay.
But right now I've got like the screen recording.
Okay.
So like, you know.
So we have a copy of the questions. Have we already talked to him and he didn't mind being late?
Check out one for a second.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Are you bright-eyed and bushy-tailed today?
Hi, Paul.
How are you doing?
Doing well. Thank you so much.
Jimmy, do you have a good connection, a good bandwidth going there?
As close as the university has given us. Why, do you look a little shaky?
No, I just know from past experience that if you don't have a good internet connection, you could have some glitches.
Oh. Well, let's hope the university invested in some good bandwidth. I'm on their Wi-Fi. I'm at work.
Okay. Well, I'm sure the university has great bandwidth, so if there's a problem, it'll probably be on my end.
Nice. Very diplomatic. We like it. So thank you for taking the time out. We're two doctoral students in the Human Resource Development Program at the University of Texas at Tyler. And we are learning about theory. So human resource development theory in particular, but management theory in general.
Okay, can you hang on 1 second?
Yes.
Paul here. Hi, Maria Teresa. I'm just starting an interview online. Okay, that'd be great. Okay. Yeah, I'm at the movie. Bye-bye. Yeah, it was one of my partners calling. He was calling from another country. I thought it might be important.
Oh, maybe.
Nice.
At the University of
Texas at Tyler.
Tyler. Okay.
The first referral cohort ever.
Wow. And how'd you meet Jamie?
We just sat by each other. I asked her all kinds of questions on my first day.
Okay, you broke up a little, Jamie, and I don't see your smiling face yet.
You don't see me.
Negative.
Really? I see me and I see everybody else. Is it just the question mark?
Yeah, hang on, there's a message here. You're seeing video. No, I don't see you. I see Kemi and myself. But you're just a big old question mark.
Can you see me, Ame?
I can, yeah.
Okay. All right. I don't know why you can't.
Okay, well,
You want me to try again?
Oh, yeah. I've got when I click on that video icon, the only thing it tells me to do is turn it off, so it must be on my end.
Try and turn it on.
I'm gonna turn it off and turn it on.
Okay, now I see a question mark. Okay.
Do you both?
Now I see you.
What about you, Paul?
No. Well, I don't think it's crucial unless you wanted to film the three of us interacting.
I
I'm
would.
waving right now.
I'm waving at you too, but you can't see me. So you probably think I'm some imposter because you don't even know that I'm real, but you're having to take Ame's word that she can see me and that we're real.
Wait. All a plot or something. I don't know.
Exactly. We're actually competitors. We're
You're gonna pick my brain and then use it against me to
we're just
create a.
Yeah, we're gathering intelligence for our book. Yeah. It's going to be called Primal Leadership.
Primal Management Undone.
Exactly.
We have 6 questions here. You have them, and
I'm just going to print them out so I have a copy.
Okay.
And just one sec.
That's okay. I'm trying to pull mine up, and they're not pulling up, so that would be about par for the course today.
Well, it's nice to get all these bugs out of the way, up front here.
Yes.
I've had webinars where I get dropped out in the middle of the webinar. That's no fun.
Oh. That is not.
Okay, why did my page get cut off? Let's see. That's weird.
I hope you feel better, Ame.
Thank you.
What was the problem?
Bronchitis, so they tell me, but all I know is I feel cruddy. That's all that matters.
Nothing help? We could keep you entertained.
Appreciate that.
I think my camera's a little cloudy. I'm gonna give it a polish. There you go.
May I say that your office is incredibly neat?
I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
Whose office?
Yours, Paul.
Well, that's because I have the camera pointing at the ceiling.
Yeah, nice. All right. And Jamie, did you get yours printed out?
It's not that. I'm trying to give you a realistic view.
Better than mine any day, I promise.
I think I'm going to let you start because I'm still waiting on mine and I can't get them yet.
No problem. Okay. So here we go. Please help us to better understand how you define the term theory and what theory is not, how it might be similar or different from a model, and how you use theory and or models in your program of research.
Wow, that is quite the question.
Our professor is quite a professor.
I've been harassed for misusing the term theory because I call the concept in my book, I call it the social appetite theory. And one of the top scientists in the world said, Paul, it's not a theory until it's totally proven and widely accepted in the scientific community. Until then, it's a hypothesis.
Okay.
So use the term theory with great caution, or Dr. Damasio is going to call you up and harass you about misusing it. But generally, I think in common usage, I think that the concept of theory and model are pretty synonymous, at least in my mind. And one way to think about it, the way I think about it when I'm talking about human nature is there's a reality out there regarding human nature. I mean, it's a thing. It's like the human eye, the human hand. I mean, it exists. And unfortunately, it's not visible, so we can't really pull it out and look at it.
Okay.
But whoever has the best picture of that reality has sort of the best theory or model. So a theory or model is something that's trying to describe reality, but never quite does that. But, you know, I'm sometimes claiming that my social appetite theory is the best theory out there to capture how human motivation works. But, you know, I can claim all I want. The proof of the pudding is when you start to test it, either theoretically, you can test it using logic, you can test it
Bless you.
by trying it out in an actual organization and see if it works in kind of an empirical fashion.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can also design experiments that will test specific predictions of the theory or model or hypothesis. So you know, that's sort of how I think of it. You know, you're supposed to call it a hypothesis until it's absolutely, totally proven, you know, 7 ways.
Well, but your book's been out for a few years, so I'm sure you've gotten some feedback from managers and leaders who have explored your hypotheses. So what's the feedback?
Well, you know, we've had some great feedback.
Pardon me.
Yes.
Thank you.
Some of the best feedback came before I even published the book.
Oh.
Some of my ideas were used by a CEO of a major corporation that builds hospitals and clinics. He's the largest builder of minor clinics and hospitals in the country. And the CEO used my ideas, not my software tool, but my ideas to his company. And a company that was basically about to go bankrupt, and it was in kind of a turnaround situation. Over a 4-year period, the company's profits increased 300%, revenue increased 200%. They went from being in the bottom quartile in employee engagement to the top quartile. A company that was purchased for $25 million from the family, the sons of the founder, was sold 4 years later for $250 million.
Wow. That's some validation.
Yeah.
Good validation. Now, I don't claim all of that, but I did get my friend Yost headed in the right direction, and he did use my ideas, so I'll claim, you know, some portion of that success, certainly not the whole success. You know, it's great if you can have an enlightened leader to work with. This guy was really a talented guy, very intellectually and sort of analytically smart, but also excellent people skills. If you want to be successful in a business, running a business, you need both. Or at least you need two people, one of whom is good at one and the other.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. Great. Jamie, any follow-up questions?
Not on that one. I think that leads us into our next one, really, for me.
Yes, it does. Go for it.
All right. What specific theories or models have underpinned your research?
Well, my research is a model. I mean, I have my own theory that I've developed over 35 years, painstakingly creating this model, sort of like a mathematical proof. And basically proposes that there's 5 human needs or human drive that drive almost everything human beings do. And the better we can understand those 5 motivational, the better our organization will function. And there's some other people who have very similar ideas. One is Antonio Damasio. He's the scientist I was talking about. And he has a concept of social homeostasis, which means that, you know, just like the thermostat in your house, if the temperature is too low, there's a system to get your temperature increases to the set point. If the temperature is too high, the house gets cooled to the set point. We have lots of these homeostatic mechanisms in the human body and also in human motivation. For instance, like food is a thermostat. If you have not enough food, it creates pain, and that pain causes you to to eat and bring it back into the set point. If you eat too much, well, that causes pain as well, and that pain causes you to bring the amount of nutrition to the optimal level for survival. And Antonio Damasio has started to apply that concept in the social arena. That we have social homeostasis mechanisms built into the brain that cause us to seek the right amount of sort of creativity and innovation, the right amount of other kind of social type needs. And so I guess to some degree, I had this kind of idea in my mind, but I've borrowed some refinements from Antonio Damasio. And then there's two people who came up with a very similar sort of drive or appetite model. One is Dan Pink in his book Drive. He came up with, I think, 4 drives that drive human behavior, and his 4 are similar to my 5. Another model that's similar is by Noria and Paul Lawrence. And Noria is the dean of the Harvard Business School. Dan Pink's book is called Drive. Noria and Lawrence's book is called Driven. And again, they're very similar concepts. So a bunch of people reaching similar conclusions coming from different angles.
Right.
Dan Pink is coming from a social sciences angle. I'm coming from a biology and evolutionary angle. And actually, Noria is also coming from a biologic and evolutionary angle. So anyway, so it's pretty interesting that, there's sort of a confluence occurring of different ideas reaching pretty much the same idea, that there's just a few fundamental systems wired into the brain that guide our behavior.
I think because of my educational background, I'm most familiar with Daniel Pink's work, and I haven't actually tried to implement it at work, but personally it resonates, right? So the autonomy, the mastery, the purpose, it makes sense. It rings true in our experiences. So I think you're right on that there's several people kind of coming to the same place from different points. How do you see these theories, so all of these, the critical mass of theories around drive and motivation, fitting in with historical theories like Vroom, Maslow, Herzberg? I mean, where does it fit?
Maslow, I'll use Maslow as an example. He has this hierarchy of needs model. And, I never set out to, kind of come up with a similar thing to Maslow, but my ideas kind of converged on a similar concept as well. So I guess you could say Maslow kind of had this basic idea at first. But on the other hand, I don't think it's a hierarchy.
I agree.
I use the analogy of imagine a piece of rubber stretched tight. Say, horizontal, flat piece of stretched rubber. And now we're going to put a metal ball on that rubber sheet, and it's going to move back and forth on that sheet because there's pistons underneath that can pull on the rubber to create like a sort of a funnel shape. And then under gravity, that ball will roll towards the funnel, and the different funnels are sort of our basic drives.
Okay.
For example, if you're hungry, hunger sort of funnel on the rubber sheet, and the ball starts to roll towards that funnel. But using mental effort, the ball can resist the pull for a while. But as the funnel gets deeper and steeper, there's a stronger and stronger force of gravity acting, so it takes more and more mental effort to resist the pull. And you may not want to do the project first, have to read this book first, but eventually you're going to do as you're told, and you're going to take care of that need. You're going to find food and satisfy the thermostat.
Right.
And I guess there's research that shows on our cognitive resources can be depleted. So if our cognitive resources are depleted, that's our ability to resist depletes as well. So in your I feel like that's like really right on what you're saying.
Yeah, and there's two of these funnels that there's 10 pistons underneath the rubber that can pull us in different directions depending on our survival need at the moment.
Mm.
And so if you don't get enough sleep, then there's a funnel that's going to pull you in the direction of sleep. If you get too much sleep, that's not good either. That makes you feel bad.
I don't know what that's like. I'll let you know if that's a problem.
But I think this is an important idea that for a theory, it helps to have a visual analog for your theory.
Yes.
And my visual analog is this rubber sheet with the different pistons moving up and down, creating depressions in that sheet that are pulling on the marble, which is you and I. And if you look at human behavior in that way, who's in charge? Is the rational mind in charge, or are the drives and needs in charge?
Freudian. I think it depends on the day, right? And the power of the drive. So
my point is that we have far less control over our behavior than we think. Constantly being pushed hither across the rubber sheet by these different drives activating and deactivating behavior.
So let me ask this, because technically we answered question 3, so we don't need to go over that one. But when you think about a concept like emotional intelligence, which is basically teaching us to gain mastery over our triggers, how does that sit with you?
That sits fine with me because it's always a balancing act. More than one of these appetites can activate at once. And then you've got to decide, okay, which one do I do? Where do I go first? And that's sort of where emotional intelligence comes in. You can resist the pull of one to take care of another. Also, if you're emotionally intelligent, you know how to activate these cylinders for your employees and get them to move in desirable directions. So, the emotional intelligence arena is sort of based on overcoming emotions. I've talked to Dan Goleman's partner, what is his name? Anyway, it'll come to me. But anyway, he I think sort of thinks about emotions as somehow bad, and that you have to resist them and you have to conquer them. And I don't see it that way at all. Emotions are absolutely necessary for our survival, and if we turn them off, we'd all be dead. They tell us what we need to survive. They're proxies, basically, for our survival needs, and we didn't have them. We wouldn't take care of our survival needs. So we don't have to conquer emotions. We just need to follow their instructions in a orderly fashion.
Got it.
That brings to mind a question for me that I was interested in asking you. We have a lot of literature out there on transformational leadership, and that really struck a chord with me when I have spoken with you, read your book. How do you see what your theory, your model, how does that fit in with transformational leadership?
Basically, something because most organizations, in my opinion, are not groups. They're assemblages of individuals all struggling with one another for scarce resources. Most companies think that they have a culture, but they don't. They have a set of rules that people are supposed to follow. They're masquerading as culture.
Okay.
Culture is something that the people themselves come up with and the people themselves validate. You cannot impose a culture on somebody. Impose culture is a fool. And so if you want to transform the organization, first you have to create a group. I'd say 90% of organizations are not social groups. They are not true groups. People don't give a hoot about each other. And Gallup has statistics that support that. They said only, I think, 20% of employees have a meaningful relationship in the workplace. Well, I'm sorry, if you don't have a meaningful relationship in the workplace, you are not part of the group.
It's true.
It's those relationships that create.
So that's almost incumbent on the followers. There's a lot of followership emphasis in that, because the followers sort of dictate where the culture is going, and almost call that into play, I guess.
It's both followers kind of lauding or appropriating the ideas that the leader puts forth, and it's the leader being able to be seen as a true leader. You know, most leaders are not leaders either. They're imposed on the organization as you know, through sort of their official power position, and that is not a leader. That's a dictator, I guess.
Yeah.
So to become a transformational leader, A, you have to create a group. B, you have to become a leader who the people will vote. If they have the choice to vote, they would vote you in.
Right.
They wouldn't vote you in. Guess what? You're not the leader.
Oh, goodness. Very well put.
Let's assume that we do have a group. We are the leader of that group. So now what do we do to move that group? And in my opinion, there's two things you have to do. Just two. Isn't that great? Just two little things. You have to connect the group to the greater good. You got to come up with a noble purpose that will motivate everyone from the CEO to the janitor to think their job or their company is the best darn company out there. And that noble purpose, you know, if you're in the medical field, it's pretty simple to come up with a noble purpose, to save lives, to develop vaccines, to cure malaria or something. But in a lot of organizations, it's a little more challenging to find your noble purpose. I worked for a box making factory in California, and I was saying, okay, what's your noble purpose? And they said, what are you talking about? We make boxes. And I said, no, you don't make boxes. You're absolutely wrong on that. I said, you make boxes for the agricultural industry that protect the food supply of the United States. So, in a broad sense, you protect the food supply of our country so that boxes don't collapse, the germs and pathogens don't get to the food, the food gets to the stores in a healthy, fresh manner. So they said, you know what, Paul, you're right, we're in the food protection business. And so every company can find its noble purpose. I used to have a company giving geologic tours at a very special place in Wisconsin called Devil's Lake. I have a degree in geology, a master's degree in geology, and I just thought people should see this place because it's like the Grand Canyon in terms of geologic wonders. And so I hired geology students to be tour guides, and we bought some vans that hauled people around in and started a tour business. But when I trained my tour guides, I said, you guys, we're not doing tours. I said, I'm not interested in doing tours. I'm sure you're not interested in doing tours, but what we're really doing is we're stretching people's minds to get them to believe that the Earth has been here for 4.5 billion years, and there's no better place to prove that than right here at Devil's Lake State Park. And I said, if you can stretch people's minds and get them to believe that the time scale is true, then they will never be the same again, because you fundamentally altered their time perspective. And your time perspective affects everything the way you see the world. And I said, those people will become curious to know what the heck went on in all that time. Once you can convince them that the time exists, they're going to get real curious about what must have gone on in all that time. So, anyway, it was very stimulating for them to be in the mind-bending business as opposed to the...
That reminds me of that article, pretty classic article that both of you probably read, called Marketing Myopia, and it highlights the railway industry and how passenger railway, largely in the United States, is sort of, other than on the coast, sort of gone out. And they said, one of the problems is they looked at themselves as a railroad and not transportation. And so when time and things evolved. They just were stuck in the very myopic mindset of being railway and never developed as a transportation industry. So that's exactly what I hear you saying.
Our step process, finding the noble purpose. And that's absolutely vital because these types of activities people can do in the workplace. One is a thankless chore that has no real meaning or purpose and it gives us no pleasure. The other is rewarding work. It's important to create all kinds of additional rewards for doing that. It gives pleasure of achievement, it gives pleasure of being competent to do.
Right.
It gives pleasure of education. But don't get into that if you think it's stupid. So a disengaged employee is 100% equivalent to a underachieving high school student who doesn't see the purpose in learning a bunch of stuff that then they're going to forget, a bunch of facts that don't relate to their world. So the smartest kids are the ones who are just, kind of give up and become underachieving. Same thing goes in the workplace, where you really have to show the employees why the company is important to the greater good, to that noble purpose. And the second thing is, what does my specific job within the company contribute? You got to make two jumps. You got to connect my job to the success of the company. And using what is distributed law of mathematics, is saying is equal to state. So my job is important. If I'm the company is important to society, hence I am important to society. So anyway, I think that's the next step for the transformative leader, to establish the noble purpose and any job, even a noble purpose. And the guiding consider calls that noble purpose the flywheel that drives everything. So it's the source of motivation, energy, and flow. Everyone looks at their job and thanks. Proud of it.
Excellent. I kept thinking about Chrysler and last ago they had the first imported from Detroit ads, and then yesterday they had another piece. And so thinking about as they are making their image, right, and kind of rising from the ashes, they're taking the city along, and they're actually rewriting the story of Detroit. So I'm like, they're changing the narrative of the city, doing their own stuff, focusing on their own profits, but also extending to the wider community, and it's fascinating to me. I would love to, know the backstory about how it's really fascinating. So I love that. I do think that's what gets you out of bed in the morning. So next question, we're skipping number 3 because yes, you built theory and you told us about it. What are the most compelling theories and or models that you believe inform or are valuable to the HRD field, to the management field?
I do want to say something about irrigation variability.
Yes.
I use a pretty essential way to develop my theory. The initial inspiration is usually intuitive. You get a feeling that your idea is a good idea. You don't have the proof of that. So what I did is I wanted my theory to be very believable. So I set out to prove it, almost like to do a mathematical proof, using axioms and postulates and connecting those together in logical ways to create a logical framework. And if your axioms are true and you connect those axioms together in true ways, your results or your conclusions will be true as well. And so that's what I sort of set out to do. And here's an example of that sort of logic building. And that is, human beings enjoy, universally enjoy or seek rewarding experiences and avoid painful ones. So that should be pretty self-evident. So that would be an axiom. Another axiom is once you have a system based on pleasure and pain, based on reward and punishment, you cannot leave the individual in charge of setting the bar. You cannot let the individual set the thermostat. Because if I want to get the pleasure that I get when I meet the goal, meet the bar, I could set the bar right on the ground, and then I don't have to do anything. I just get the reward and cheat the system and take the candy from the candy shop. So logically, you cannot leave a human being in charge of setting their own kind of bar, their own goals, their own guiding principles. The society has to set the bar, and then we are motivated to acquire the skills that society requires, and as we acquire the skills, our self-worth, self-esteem ratchets upward, and when we meet the bar, then we have, we walk tall, feel proud, feel confident and masterful in our work, and that's serotonin. As you lack skills, your serotonin levels go down, and if you go all the way to the floor, you're depressed. If you can feel good about yourself, develop the skills that society says you need to survive and work, and prosper, they will affect serotonin. So that's how you can start to develop logical constraints on your model by thinking, okay, people could set their goals. Well, then we could steal the reward. We can take the reward ourselves. We know from drug abuse that if people are allowed to take the reward for themselves, they will take it, and they'll take it often, and they'll misuse it. So we know for a fact that we can't make that system controlled by the individual. And I have to be set externally by the social things that society thinks are important or applaud. When society applauds something, it automatically becomes important. And then we want to acquire that important thing. I think that's how it works.
Interesting. Interesting.
We can set our own ideas and practicals, we don't get pleasure from them. We get pleasure and self-confidence from the ones that society set.
Interesting. Yeah. I never thought about that. Yeah.
We all have our own goals, but your own goal is just, not that much use until society says, oh, that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Then you get the bump from it.
Yeah.
I really think it's society that kind of drives the bus.
Wow. Makes sense. So in a way, it's almost like a manager who believes in autonomy, and that's really important. Research shows that. But if they overdo it, they're like, come up with your own goals, just turn them in, I trust you, or whatever, it doesn't deliver the same punch as, mutual goal setting or goals tied to the institutional strategic plan, things like that. I never thought about that before, but that's part of my problem. People like set your own goals. And I realize it's not as gratifying, and it makes sense. But I feel like people can't really evaluate me on anything. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it does.
Way to do it is have goal setting in a group environment where you have your peers watching you make your goals, and they either thumbs up or thumbs down, and once they give it the thumbs up, you're going to be motivated to hit that goal. So that if you did it in isolation, because the group has power.
I like that.
Next question now.
Yes. So, most compelling theories or models that you believe inform or are valuable to the HRG field?
Well, I've already mentioned a couple. We mentioned Angelo, of course. We mentioned entertaining or college. We mentioned Noria's work, my work. And I'd like to also mention the positive psychology. Think of my 5 motivational hot buttons. So you get these positive rewards, you get these positive feelings. So it relates directly to positive psychology. And I particularly like the way that the Gallup organization formulated positive psychology literature in an easy to digest format. For example, math books Bucket or Friends or his book Well-Being. Those are really excellent books to kind of give you a nice overview of positive psychology literature.
Mm.
Of course, we have to mention the flow concept and Mahaly Csikszentmihalyi, or however heck you pronounce his name. I had lunch with him about 4 or 5 years ago, which was quite an experience. But his flow model is that if you make a job too easy, people get bored. If you make it too difficult, they get frustrated. You have to hit the kind of stretch challenge, stretch goal scenario where people have to kind of use their skills to the utmost, take it to the next level.
That reminds me a lot of a the marketing principle of you pricing things too low and people are not they're not attracted to the product anymore because it devalues that product. And I think maybe if you make the job too easy, it just devalues that job for that person and they don't see it as something worthwhile, worth their time.
Right. And that, I talked about it, Victoria talks about it. You have to make the jobs, challenging enough to be interesting and where there's actually problems to solve and areas to explore. And if you make it too cut and dry, you starve those basic needs and people tune out. Another interesting theory is not really a theory, it's more like an application of these drive theories. Clint Studer, who talks about strategies and tactics to develop good leaders. And he said, you've got to, the leadership in a typical company is a bunch of fish swimming in a stream, all going in different directions. You got to get them headed in the same direction. And at first, you kind of have to create a flume and get them all into that flume and force them to go in a certain direction, at least for a while. And once they've seen the advantages of, pressing the motivational hot buttons, he basically makes them do, like a doctor will do the rounds of their patients in a hospital, check vital signs and meds and so forth. Makes managers do the same thing with their employees, do the rounds on a daily or weekly basis, make sure that these motivational needs are being met, that people's jobs are stimulating in these 5 dimensions, and then rigorously document what they've done, and document any ideas that employees have suggested, have a process to deal with those ideas and vet them. Competency, have you talked to your employees about their training needs? Is there an area that they want to specialize in? Can they get that special training to become an expert at what they do? For the achievement button, to get people to achieve successes, you talk to their coworkers. Find out who's done something special recently, that's really beyond the call of duty. And then you use those reports to reward, write a personal note to that person. They really appreciate what you did on XYZ project and went beyond the call of duty. And just basically holding the managers accountable for doing these things, pressing the motivational buttons, feeding these basic human needs that all employees have. And if you do that, just what? You have an excited, passionate, high-being, creative employees because you're aligning the workplace with human nature. And if you ignore human nature, guess what? You need them to work out of business. That's really paper competition. If you're not getting the very best out of each and every employee, guess what? You're done. You're cooked. So this will be a real priority area for HR in the next 100 years, I believe. It's going to getting and a great book that kind of provides the historical context for that thought is Gary Hamel's book, The Future of Management. Called by the Wall Street Journal the #1 business thinker. He's saying that the future is about motivation needs done so poorly on historic. He basically says that modern corporations are like lumber being done for scrap because they squander the passionate energy of an employee not train. Okay, we have to come up with more nuanced approach to giving motivation. That'll be the key for the future. And my book is the attempt at that more nuanced approach, so it can take so it needs more areas, more answers. We're all taking a shot at what a better way.
Thank you.
That's great. And you really kind of started touching on our second to last question, really, on what HRD should be exploring in the way of theories, what kind of tests and explorations we should do. And I think you've really gone into a lot of that for us and touched on that. But is there anything else that you can think of outside of what we've talked about?
There are really interesting ways to test some of the stuff. For example, in my theory, I firmly believe that the brain tracks our investments rigorously. Energy and keep track of our precious investments of energy. And just like a male dog keeps track of the boundaries of his territory, the food sources and females within that territory, patrols that territory with the intent to invest in it will toward the oppressor. Well, guess what? The human brain does exactly the same thing, because we have lots more categories of things that we invest in and protect. And I can actually tell you what a part of the brain, tiny eyeballs, the ventral medial prefrontal lobe, is where that ledger of investment lies. And theoretically, I can determine your investment portfolio by hooking you up to a polygraph and then asking you probing questions about your different domains of achievement. I say, Jamie, I used this example, Jamie, yesterday. Jamie, you're the first sort of lawnmower I've ever met. Well, I don't think Jamie has invested in lawn mowing, so I don't think that was a hit. I didn't get any investment, so there was no emotional reaction on the polygraph. If I did enough of these probes, I could determine the shape of Jamie's investment portfolio. Now that's very important, because I would then know how to make Jamie angry if I threatened one of her investments, or how to make my friend if I help her develop her investments. And, just thinking up with an experiment to test that hypothesis in reality. Do the probes and determine what somebody is invested in. Find out and it's source all their friends and associates, family members, what is this person invested in? And then do the experiment, randomly probing around and then seeing if what they said was important to this person. If that's true, then you can actually test if an employee is engaged in their work by hooking them up to a polygraph and then either complimenting or criticizing them on different aspects of the workplace. Criticize somebody's employer, they don't react emotionally. Guess what? They're not engaged. They do it if they do react emotionally. Getting that done the other way.
Interesting. Fascinating stuff. I'm learning. I'm going to apply some of this stuff.
Definitely.
So, final question. And I think really looking forward to hearing from you because you have a background in the sciences. By the way, my dad's also a geologist. So talking to two budding doctoral students, what tips do you have for us as we develop our research proposals so that the proposals are theoretically and conceptually sound and robust?
Well, a couple of thoughts. One is don't be intimidated by what other people have done. I always try to think about myself against nature, or myself interacting with the unknown. And starting out by forgetting about what other people have come up with. Use your own thought process, your own logic, your own background, to come up with your own ideas about how things work. Because that's more exciting than say, doing a study to verify some minute little minutia of somebody else's theory. Kind of fun to grapple with nature, I guess. Yourself, mono. And so that is one suggestion to motivate yourself. The idea is that it's exciting to get on the edge of knowledge, interacting with the unknown. But in the modern world, we know so much that it may take you, until you're 30 years old to even reach the edge, even know to ask the questions that get at the unknown. You've got to kind of burrow out of that mountain of knowledge and get to the edge and start thinking about Another suggestion is, again, to use that deductive logic approach with some easier ideas. If you have an idea, it doesn't matter, you've got to prove it. The best way to prove it is do it like that and prove. Available logic to that the idea has and obviously something to do with experiments, design elegant experiments to test your ideas and hypotheses. Again, if they're developed using logic, experiments are almost one conclusion. Because again, if you use truthful assumptions that you put together in ways, you're going to reach the truth.
That's very true. Very true. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Very good stuff.
Very good stuff. I should have said at the beginning that I was typing and listening all through or whatever. So I have some pretty good notes. Jamie, questions, thoughts, buzzing?
Really, you're very thorough, which I'm thrilled with. That helped us really direct this interview well. I'm actually in 15 minutes have to walk out the door to teach, so I probably on my end I'm going to wrap it up as far as questions on my end. I felt really good about this. I think this is beautiful. This is great.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your insight, your perspective. We'll talk to famous theorists as the future begins to bring all of these things more and more front and center for us in HR. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Your probing questions and your insight asking these tough questions, which really made me sit down and think about, how I would respond to them. You guys rock as well.
Thank you. Well, I talked to Dr. Mather, and I told him, I said, we've got to get him up at UCO, and he said, that is a great idea. Let me think about that and work on it. So we're on fire about you. We really appreciate this.
Perfect. Hope to run into you at a conference or two, or hear you speaking somewhere in the very near future.
Same here.
Your name on the screen is K-E-M-I?
That is my middle name, but my first name is A-M-E-Ame.
Where are you?
I work at Champlain College in Burlington, Vermont.
And where's your ancestry from?
Nigeria.
Okay. Excellent. Well, nice meeting you, Ame. And Jamie, good luck teaching tonight.
Thank you.
And thanks for the stimulating conversation.
Same here. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Have a great evening.
Goodbye.
Bye. All right, Jamie. So you got to go. Okay, because I'm going to say we could just try to do our video, not record it, and then we can put it into something and post it.
Okay. Probably going to be better, like, gosh, I'm trying to think because I teach Wednesday night too, but I could probably get the students out. I don't know how late you stay up. One thing I know Matt can help me with a little bit of that. He's really good with videos, so if there's something we need, since I'm the one that's having to kind of duck out, if I need to, I don't know what our part is. That's the only thing. Like, I don't know how we put our part together. So if you want to give me instruction and let me put some things together, if you want to collaborate, whatever works for you. Since I'm the one that's got kind of these weird time constraints right now.
Okay, that's fine.
I think either works. So I think we'll defer to Matt's perspective about how this what would be smoothest. Because right now he's recording. He has something recording our screenshots. So if that comes out looking decent, then we can just have another 20-minute conversation like this back and forth.
Yeah.
And then he needs to tell us if that can be spliced into one video, or if that can be posted on Vimeo. If not, I can send you my notes or record something and send to you, and then you can. So really, Matt needs to tell us what's going to look best and what's going to. And if he goes to the Vimeo site, you can see some of the videos from last semester, so he has an idea of. None of them will be winning any awards.
Okay.
And she doesn't really care about that.
Okay.
So I will wait to. I'll have these notes, put them together, make some sense, and just wait to hear from Matt and go from there.
Well, I'll go to class tonight. Matt will look it over and hit. I know from regular video, like if we do something on our Mac, he's able to splice and edit and do great with that. Haven't done this particular format before, so I'll let him look at that, like you said, make a little decision, and then we'll just go from there, and we can certainly find 20 minutes to visit over another conversation. I'll have 20 minutes. It's just we'll know by this evening what's going to happen with the video, and then you and I will correspond, and we'll hash out those last details and put it together.
Okay.
That works.
Thank you so much. This was a great choice, and I think it will make for a different kind of. So it'll be fine.
I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah.
I'm glad it worked out because I was so nervous. Thank you. Hope you feel better.
Thank you.
Bye.
And teach those young ones. Give them the knowledge.
All right, I'm going to do it.
All right, bye.
Bye. Let's see. Are we done?
With people you meet, just finished there. Paul Hare. Oh, okay. Well, I asked him. I said, like, you said, you mind if I pick your brain on the subject? And he says, he was like, "Are you still there? Want to pick my brain? Will it hurt?" Like, type shit without knowing what class he's in. If it's that one guy, then
I don't know. I am going to have to leave in about 10 minutes to go to school.
oh no, just a quiz to do.
So it is strategic management. I teach school. The PowerPoints are alright.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you? First things first.